Welcome back to the shop. I'm Kirk Anderson. In this video, I'm going to discuss using the table saw and a stacked dado blade to cut a dado. Now, many of you may be familiar with what a dado is, but for those of you that aren't, a dado is a groove cut in a piece of wood where another piece will fit into. Now, this type of joint is used a lot in cabinet building, but there are also other applications it can be used in. Now, there are many ways of cutting a dado. By far the easiest is using a stacked dado blade in a table saw. Now, as far as the depth of the dado, you want to go about 1/3 to 1/2 of the thickness of the wood that you're cutting the dado in. And you want it to be a nice tight fit. You don't want any wiggle room in there. Now, as I've said, there are other ways to cut a dado besides the table saw. Another preferred way is using a router. You can actually cut these by hand with a special plane that's designed just to cut dados. But in this video, we're going to concentrate on how to use a stacked dado blade in a table saw. I've had this stacked dado blade set for roughly about 8 years now. And I've actually tried to find another one just like it, and I just don't think they're made anymore. As you can tell, it's made by Delta. And I have been totally beyond pleased with this stacked dado set. Now, most stacked dado sets will come similar to this, where it'll have 2 outer blades and then a series of inner blades or chippers that will go in between the 2 main blades. Now, each of the outer blade is 1/8 of an inch thick. The majority of the chippers are 1/8 of an inch, but there's also one that's 3/32 of an inch and one that's 1/16 of an inch. This is so you can dial in the width of the dado precisely. And to really get it dialed in precisely, it comes with a series of shims. And the shims are like 5/1000ths of an inch to about 20/1000ths of an inch. Now, installing the blade is relatively simple. Now, of course, the first thing you need to do is take the regular saw blade off the table saw. Now, once that's done, it's just a matter of installing the stacked dado blades in order. And you start with one of the outer blades, and then you put in the chipper blades, and then another outer blade. So in order to get at 1/2 an inch, I'm going to be using 4 blades that are 1/8 of an inch thick. Now, most plywood does not come in the dimensions that it says. If it's 1/2 inch plywood, it's probably going to be a little under 1/2 an inch. So if you cut the dado at exactly 1/2 an inch like I did, it's going to be sloppy. There's going to be a lot of movement in there, and you don't want that. That's why they come with the other chipper blades that are a little bit thinner and with the shims. That's so you can dial it in to be precise. Now, this doesn't happen too often. I took one of the 1/8 inch chippers out and I put a 3/32 inch chipper in, and it was perfect. Usually you have to dial it in, make 3 or 4 cuts before you have it perfect. So with just 2 cuts, that does not happen often. But that's the way that it needs to be. It needs to be tight. That's so you can lift up the piece and the other piece will come with it, but then yet you can easily pull it out. Well, that's the down and dirty on cutting a dado on the table saw. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And as always, all you woodworkers out there, just get out there and cut some wood.